for Kansas Jayhawks, Scotty. Obviously, a very storied resume from what you guys are seeing on screen right now. 50 appearances, 16 Final Fours, 4 championships in 52, 88, 2008, and 22. They have a win-loss record in the tournament, 116 and 49. And last results, number 1 seed lost to number 8 Arkansas. So they are...
That's why you don't like the SEC.
They're going to be coming back here and trying to get some revenge in the tournament. But we've already talked about the Kansas Jayhawks a little bit on the previous stream when we were talking about them. But, Scotty, they need to be able to hit some shots from deep. And they haven't been able to do that recently. Having some struggles this season. Right now, Ken Pom has Kansas at... Where do they got him at?
Down there.
17th.
Down there.
17th with an adjusted offensive rating at 115. This was 42nd in the country. And defensively 11th. So when we were talking about struggles from 3, that's reflected in the fact that they're ranked 42 offensively by Ken Pom as they sit right now. As far as possessions per 40 minutes for tempo, they're 112th in the country, which obviously could probably be better. And they've just had some struggles recently as far as, back-to-back losses. One against BYU, which isn't great, and Baylor, number 15 most recently, 82-74, number 15 Baylor. But Scotty, what are your thoughts on the Jayhawks? Obviously, they could be a sneaky team when they're all firing on all cylinders, but when they're not hitting shots, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, this year has been disappointing as a Kansas fan. Every year you look for them to improve, and I think they have the best coach in the country. And you always see Kansas improve as the season goes on. I haven't felt that this year, not even close. Maybe they're just bored. Maybe Dickinson's bored. Maybe McCullough's bored. KJ Adams might be bored. But this team can't shoot, Chris. Like I said, the player on the team with the most 3-pointers made has 38 threes made on the season, Chris. They played 30 games, barely averaging more than 1 a game. That's wild. They can't shoot from the perimeter, and that is by far their biggest issue. Defensively, I think they'll be better when the tournament starts, and they have a ton of talent. Between McCullough, Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, DeJuan Harris, Johnny Furphy's a freshman from Australia that's been a sensation. The depth is shit, though. The depth is shit, and the 3-point shooting is shit. And that's a problem, because in the tournament, you need to make clutch shots. You're going to get guarded. You got to hit from the perimeter, and they can't really do that. Where does this team go? I don't know. They're kind of spiraling right now, Chris, and I don't have a ton of faith in them. But when I look at the roster and remove watching them play, I'm like, this team could have a shot to go a long way if they figure out what the fuck they're doing, but they just haven't. They haven't, for whatever reason. Bill Self hasn't been able to corral this team into a situation where they're playing well. You talked about it this week. They're 0-2. An embarrassing loss at home to BYU, and then on the road at Baylor is not a bad loss, but would have been a nice win if they could get it, but they can't win on the road at all. Keith Close thinks this team is winning the Natty, and I just literally have no idea how you get to that right now, because they're 9-7 in the Big 12.
Yeah, well, and when they go through these shooting slumps, it's crazy to me that they shot 3 for 15 from 3 against BYU. I mean, they just couldn't hit a shot. And then against Texas Tech, most recently as well, the 79-50 blowout. They didn't have McCullough, and Harris wasn't completely healthy, right? So they shot a season low 32.7%, which is 17 of 52 from the field. And their 50 points were also the fewest all season in that particular game. And it's just like the erratic nature of their offense is terrifying for me to take them in any one particular game in the tournament where it could happen at any point. Like they could just go cold from the field and they could lose to a lot of variety of different teams if they just can't hit shots. So, and by the way, in that Texas Tech game, Dickinson and KJ Adams were a combined 3 of 23 from the field, which is, you can't have that. Like, you can't have that. So, when it's been bad for Kansas, but there's still a lot. I mean, you're still one of the best coached teams in the country, right? You still have 21-8 on the season, and you've had some big wins over the course of the season. Number 9 Oklahoma. You've already beat Baylor once, so the most recent loss, you kind of split the season. You have a big win against one of the favorites in Houston from earlier on in the season. So there's like flashes, but
I mean, they have the best wins potentially of any team on the year with all the impressive wins they have. They beat UConn, Houston, Tennessee, like you talked about. Like they have great wins.
It's peaks and valleys, right? Like the wins are like you're climbing Mount Everest in K2, right? The losses, you're in Death Valley and you're shooting absolutely atrocious. So, the erratic nature is why I probably won't have Kansas in going crazy far, just because I don't want to sweat out that many Kansas games, but they have the ability to get far, like when they were playing and shooting on all cylinders. I just don't know if you can consistently expect that over the course of the entire NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean, right now against Ken Palm's top 5 teams, Kansas is 3-0. I have no idea how, but they beat Houston, who's 1, Connecticut 2, and Tennessee, who's 5.
Big wins. Big wins.
They play Houston again down the stretch here at Houston, so they probably won't win that one. But even still, like they beat the best of the best. But man, they can look like trash.
Yeah. It's been an interesting season for Kansas, and they're going to bounce back probably next season. But this season, I know I'm looking at the resume here on the spreadsheet or on the slide here, and I'm just like, damn, man, you can't ever count them out with what they've done in the history of their program and like the success. They're always going to be somewhat in the mix. We are a bad home team. TCU. Loki has some of the best wins in the Big 12, but we are a mid AF. So yeah, and we'll get to some of these other teams too. But yeah, KU, interesting one here. Feast or famine. The peaks and valleys, baby.